Oh well, back to the Lion's Den.
Back to the Lion's Den.
For round 2 with you. This is I'm not talking, guys. This one is purely a listening episode. This is a therapy session. That's what this is.
Therapy session, yeah. That is your group therapy session.
Yeah, group therapy. Kumbaya.
Yeah. So if you're not acquainted with us, my name is Logan. This is Kevin, and we're a Cinema Suitcase. This is the podcast show where we like to just break down a films that we enjoy, and just break it down, talk about what we like about it, but also to maybe talk about some of the technical aspects, because me and Kevin, we have both studied, we both went to film school, we both studied,
that's where we know each other.
Yeah,
we're friends from that era.
Yeah, we're both filmmakers, and we just like to look at films from a filmmaker's lens and everything like that.
True. Break it down, review it. A lot of fun.
Yeah. So talking about what Kevin mentioned earlier, this is actually my favorite film of all time. Like The Dark Knight is like hands down my favorite movie. I absolutely love this film. Like, you can see the awesome wallpaper in the background. I absolutely love it. As like sort of a background for me on this, I remember the first one of my most cherished film memory of going to the cinema was when my dad took me to go watch Batman Begins, and Batman was my favorite character because I read the comics and I was watching the animated series and everything. And so yeah, it was a big thing for me. When I went to watch this movie, I absolutely just Batman Begins, sorry. I absolutely loved it and just couldn't think. And then when this movie came out, I was so hyped, and it just lived up to all my expectations. I really, really enjoyed it.
I watched it when it came out, but I'll admit, I was a bit of a weird kid. I had very shitty concentration. And I was sent, let me brag a little bit. I was sent off because I was seen as not really paying attention in class, and then they thought I had some sort of focus condition.
Well, that's basically every school. If the student's not paying attention, it's clearly the kid's problem.
Exactly. So they sent me away, and then they worked out, no, I was a bit smarter than these people. I didn't care about their shit, so I was doing my own thing. So that was pretty cool. But I still had a concentration issue. That was my original point. So the first time I saw either Batman Begins out of me. I only remember Scarecrow. I don't remember watching anything else.
Yeah, Scarecrow was pretty creepy in that movie.
And then Dark Knight, I remember getting a huge hype for it. Never watched it. But the first time was in college. That was when I sat down and I said, no, I'm watching this trilogy and I love this movie. Heath Ledger's Joker, arguably one of the best. Him and Joaquin, those two, they do it for me in terms of Jokers.
Yeah, they're just really good Jokers.
They're brilliant. And the character from Gotham, his Joker, is also clever. I don't know his actor's name though.
I think it's like I can't remember his name.
Michael B. Jordan.
No, it's I can't remember. He's in the new Star. He's in the Jedi. He's the main character that he plays in the new Star Wars game, Jedi Fallen Order. He plays him, and they do like mocap on him, so it looks just like him. But yeah, I'm not sure I can't remember what the actor's name is.
Yeah, I really don't know his name. Shit. Oh well.
But yeah, so just to give you guys a brief logline of the film. When the menace known as the Joker wreaks havoc and chaos on the people of Gotham, Batman must accept one of the greatest psychological and physical tests of his ability to fight injustice.
Yeah, I can believe the psychological part. The physical one is a bit more chill.
Well, the thing is,
he's more running than actually he's getting cardio.
Yeah. So what we like about this film, there's just so many things, so many great things about this film.
Heath Ledger, right? So in the next episode, guys,
pretty much Heath Ledger. You could pretty much just talk about his death.
You could do. That's the thing.
And it's a shame that he, respects to his family and everything for when he passed away. Unfortunately, after this film, because he could have had a really good career after Dark Knight. He could have done some really great movies.
He's already in the Hall of Fame.
Pretty much, yeah.
Still spoken about today.
Yeah, but yeah, no. Some of the scenes are just so many great scenes. Like the opening heist scene when they're busy robbing the bank, and then slowly because these guys these guys in clown masks rob this bank, and they're all henchmen of the Joker, and the Joker's told each of them that okay, well once you do this specific task, make sure to kill the other guy so that we have less and less of a share. And slowly these guys start to pick each other off until there's two guys left.
That was so good, actually.
And I remember the part where he says, where the one guy's like, if the Joker was so smart, he would have us brought another car. I bet you told me to drop me after we dropped the cash. And then he's like, no. I killed a bus driver.
What bus driver? I love that guy's reaction. He's like, what bus driver? That scene makes me laugh, dude.
Yeah, and then when the Joker finally takes off his mask and reveals that it's him, he's just like, I believe whatever doesn't kill you simply makes you stranger.
Yeah, he's so good.
Yeah, he's really good. Like I absolutely love that.
I think there's better people to do a psychological breakdown of his character than us.
Yeah, obviously
we're gonna still geek out.
People who are qualified.
Yeah, we're just like, oh, that's cool.
Can do a breakdown, but no, Joker is amazing in this film, and then just really good intros. Joker gets a really good intro. Actually, in fact, because this film really has three main characters that we focus on. It's Batman, Joker, and Harvey Dent. Those are three characters, and we get great intros for all three of them. Because then Batman's one is when he's on that parking lot and he fights those mobsters. That's still a great scene. I love the scene where those Batman wannabe guys show up and fight, and then the Batmobile comes. And then, you see that close-up of the guy there, Soul Trouble, then suddenly Batman's fist just grabs and, breaks the thing, and then he just, starts beating the hell out of these guys. I love it. And then I love the bit at the end where, the guy says, what's the difference between you and me? I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Yeah, that was the ultimate line. It's like, you can't argue that, bro. You're wearing fucking hockey gear.
Yeah.
To deflect bullets, and Batman is all geared out.
Although later I saw a very funny meme when Batman v Superman was coming out, and we had the suit reveal for Ben Affleck, and his suit obviously is more faithful to the comic books. And then it's the same thing with Christian Bale's Batman. It's like, what's the difference between you and me? I'm not wearing hockey pads.
Was it actually? Oh, okay. It was a meme. I thought it was a conversation there.
No. It was a meme. It was a meme.
Okay, that would have been cool though if Christian Bale tweeted Ben Affleck, and then Ben Affleck was like, "I'm not wearing hockey pads." Would have died.
And then later we get obviously Harvey Dent's intro where he's in the courtroom, and then he flips the coin, and we get introduced to the coin and everything. And interesting enough, because for those of you who don't know, I mean, Batman Forever actually touched on this. They actually did his origin, even though that version of Two-Face is not very good. They did do his. Is that
the one that is played by Tommy Lee
Jones, and also with Jim Carrey.
Yes, I haven't seen that just yet, but I already know that that one is very.
It's actually a fun movie.
Yeah, I'm sure it's fun.
Batman Robin is shit, but Batman Forever I still think is pretty good.
Apparently it's questionable, but when I see it, I'll get back to you.
One of Brenda's favorite lines from that movie is when he's like, Batman will save me, Batman coming for you.
Apparently Tommy Lee hated working with Jim Carrey. He
there's a whole story behind that which I read about, which we'll get to maybe in a future episode.
Yeah, if we ever get to that film, then we should definitely discuss it.
Cool one. But so what I was originally going to say was that Batman Forever did it pretty much accurately to the comics. So in the comics, what happened was that Harvey Dent was questioning one of Maroni's men or Falcone's men or one of the mobsters' men on the stand in court, and then what happened was while the guy was on the stand, he took a bottle and he threw acid into Harvey Dent's face, and then that's what ruined his face. And in this film, they actually kind of make fun of that, where he tries to pull a gun on him, and then he takes the gun and punches the guy. Then you find out it's he's carbon fiber made in China. If you want to kill a public servant, Mr. Maroni, I recommend you buy American.
Oh yes, actually recall that scene. It's great.
Yeah, it's a great scene. So
some context about that.
Yeah, just some interesting context.
I thought it was some
comics.
patriotic bullshit, but
it was actually them playing on the comics. Basically Christopher Nolan saying, I'm not gonna do that goofy
thing they did.
A goofy thing that, even though it's accurate to the comics, he's basically saying, look, this is a grounded reality. I'm not doing that. I'm doing something different with my thing. And everything is just, other than that, it's really good. I really like Batman's new suit that he gets in this movie. And I like also that they give a reason for him having a new suit. Because often in these superhero movies, when the hero gets, in the Amazing Spider-Man movies, for example, they change costumes. Remember, he's got that really cool costume with the yellow lenses in the first one, and then the second one he's got a more comic book accurate costume, but they don't explain why.
Which Spider-Man?
Amazing Spider-Man.
Oh yeah. No, I know what you mean now. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. They have a dark tone, those movies.
Yeah, they do.
I liked Electro, the way they did him. I know he's a bit wonky, but that level of CGI and makeup was really cool.
Yeah.
His design.
But yeah, and then like Bruce even says, I need a new suit. And then, Mr. Lucius Fox, who's played brilliantly by Morgan Freeman, by the way. Great
I love
casting.
Morgan Freeman as an actor. My dad loves him as well. He's a big fan.
Yeah. And he says, 3 buttons is a little 90s, Mr. Wayne. And he's like, I'm not talking about fashion, Mr. Fox, so much as function. And he gives us
exactly.
And he basically, this was the suit where they actually finally let Batman turn his head. Because before, like, if Batman wanted to turn in his head, you have to turn his whole body around to be able to turn.
Why was his head fixed?
I think it's mainly just how they designed the cowl. They designed the cowl in such a way that he couldn't turn his head.
Oh, I see.
Like with Michael Keaton in the original Batman movies, like in Batman and Batman Returns, if you wanted to turn, if you wanted to turn his head, you'd have to turn his whole body.
Oh, okay, I see. So they just improved on the design, so that he was like more functional. Like what they did with, I think Vision, when they added a zip so he could go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
Because I imagine it was Age of Ultron where they discovered that he can't go to the bathroom and he's in that suit, for hours with all that makeup.
Yeah, basically.
So that's cool.
So yeah, basically, that was one thing because like in the Batman Begins suit, Bale couldn't turn his head properly, and you had to he had to turn his body in order to turn. And then this one actually they do the thing where he can actually turn his head without having to turn his whole body.
Which was great for functionality.
The suit I really enjoy. Oh yeah, definitely for functionality. And yeah, I love the suit in this. I love also the gadgets that he has in this one. Like I like that little that gun that he has that shoots those little mine darts. Really great and everything.
Reminds me of the Arkham series.
Sort of like the explosive gel in the Arkham games. Yeah.
I love those.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. And then another thing that also the first scene where the Joker, where we we already got the riddle of the Joker, but we get him with his actual costume where the mobster's having a meeting about the cops and the cops.
Oh yes,
money and everything.
when he walks in and he does the pencil trick.
He's like ha 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 ha. I thought my jokes were bad. And then later he's like, how about a magic trick? I'm gonna make this pencil disappear. Ta-da!
Apparently
gone.
Apparently the guy that he knocked out, that stuntman, apparently he was knocked out 5 separate times trying to get that thing right. Because the idea was he had to move the pencil at the last second, and Heath Ledger kept knocking him out. So they had to wait for this dude to wake up before they could try again. That was funny. But my friend was telling me, because he's a huge fan of Heath Ledger's Joker, particularly.
Yeah.
And you were saying that Heath Ledger liked puppets.
Puppets.
Yeah. And he designed his sort of body language on a puppet. So he's not really real. He's sort of being controlled.
That's interesting. I didn't actually know about that.
Yeah, it's fascinating. And he said that's why his laugh sounds so weird, because it's meant to come off as synthetic. As if it's not his own. And I was like, that's really cool.
I mean, it's better than Suicide Squad where it's you want the sexy hunka. Jared Leto's Joker.
My mom loves Jared Leto as Joker. She's not as involved as you and I would be. So to us, he's not really one of the high-ranking members.
His performance is okay, but he doesn't hold a candle to.
I think she just likes the fact that he's sort of like a thug.
Yeah.
I don't know why.
When you watch Zack Snyder's Justice League, there's a little scene in there that I think you'll like.
I saw the promotional art.
There's a scene right at the end with Jared Leto's Joker, which is pretty cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah. Basically, so he, I like it how he says because the guy originally was saying that no, we'll take the money to China and they can't extradite to China when they extradite their own, and then Joker's Batman has no jurisdiction. He'll find him and make him squeal.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that whole scene is so incredibly orchestrated. Every time you have to rewatch it a few times, because if you ever watch the guys break down Heath Ledger's body language and the subtle things he does that add a lot of and I don't want to say depth, but like, I guess you could just say depth. Yeah, like they add a lot to his character.
Yeah.
And it's things you wouldn't necessarily notice, like how he gets he gets sort of frustrated when they make fun of how he looks, and eye movements, and it's really interesting to watch. You completely miss it.
Actually quite like I like because like when he first interrupts that mafia meeting, they say earlier when they said like, oh, some clown in a cheap purple suit. And then when he comes out, he says, oh, and the suit wasn't cheap, You ought to know, you bought it.
You ought to know.
but then later when they say like, you're crazy, he actually turns to the guy and says, no, I'm not. And he almost like winks at him.
Yeah, he like spazzes a bit.
He like spazzes a bit.
It gets under his skin as a character, which is so cool.
And I remember that one guy, Michael J. White, who was Spawn originally in the original Spawn movie, which is terrible, but his Spawn was great.
I didn't know Spawn had a movie.
Yeah,
I knew he had a series, like a cartoon.
Yeah, because remember, he keeps pushing Joker's buttons. He keeps saying like, a guy like me. He's like a freak. He's like,
I know.
A guy like me, and then later he ends up killing that guy. And then that's when we get our first, do you want to know how I got these scars?
Yeah, the very first.
I just love.
Is that when they bring him in on the pool table?
Yeah, the pool table scene.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, that scene is just epic.
It's so
Because that's another thing from the comics. Because in the one comic book, Batman: The Killing Joke, Joker actually says that because the thing is, it's almost like an origin story book for the Joker.
Yeah.
Kind of shows Joker's origin. But then they show his origin throughout the book, and then towards the end of the book, he says to Batman that if I were to have an origin, it'd be multiple choice, as in like he wouldn't. And then it almost makes you question everything that you've read up until that point.
Oh, I see.
And that's why he kept changing his story. Like he says, like my father was a drinker and a fiend, and let's put a smile on that face. Yeah. Then later he tells a story about his wife, and then he's about to tell a third story to Batman, and that's when he's like, you want to know how I got these scars? No, but I know I got these. Shoots those spark things into his face.
Oh yes.
Yeah, that was pretty epic, but.
Yeah, forgive me. You have to explain scenes. I haven't seen that in a few months. Every time my parents watch it, I'm always busy, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake.
Yeah.
So that's why I have to think for a second. But I agree with you in general.
Yeah,
he's really great.
And then one standout Batman scene that I really enjoyed was the Hong Kong sequence, where like he goes to Hong Kong obviously to get this accountant guy, and then he shoots the mine dots in the thing, and then like he glides down, he beats those guys up, and then as he's dragging this accountant guy to the thing, he then hooks onto that plane, and the plane pulls him out.
Yeah, I thought that was
really epic.
And then with that.
And with Hans Zimmer's music as well, it's just amazing. Like
he's legendary as a choreographer. Wow, conductor,
composer. Yeah,
composer is the better word. Conductor is not quite.
As we were saying in our debunk our failed Jurassic Park episode, that we'll have to like probably refilm or whatever.
Hopefully not.
Hopefully not. We were talking about John Williams' amazing score in Jurassic Park and how that score really elevated the film.
And it stuck with people.
Yeah, we will get that episode, you guys. Don't worry. We're just gonna figure out some technical issues, but this movie also has just a fantastic soundtrack. There, dun dun.
It's
dun,
got a really.
dun.
It's got a powerful kick to it. It's not even subtle. It's like really in your face.
It's really bombastic in your face.
Yeah, that's a good word. It's bombastic. It's really all over the place. Which I guess can tie into the theme of chaos itself.
Yeah, that's a really good scene. But yeah, overall, it's just a really great movie. I mean, every scene with Heath Ledger's Joker, he pretty much like he steals that scene, like the scene where he crashes the party at Wayne's penthouse, and then. I love the bit when he's like, he tells the story to Rachel Dawes. I do not like Rachel Dawes in this movie. I prefer Katie Holmes, the actress who played her in Batman Begins, than Maggie Gyllenhaal. Maggie Gyllenhaal, she's a good actress and everything. I just don't feel like she was right for the role. She was kind of annoying a bit. But sorry.
No, I love that you know all these names. As I said in the intro video of our channel, that I don't know names and things as well as you do. I really do not research them as much. So the fact that you're going on about all these people, and I'm just like, who?
Yeah,
I know characters, yes, but specific actors, I'd rather memorize the names of people I work with than.
Yeah, definitely. But when he tells the story about his wife, and then she kicks him, and then he's like, "I love fighting you. I like that." And then Batman's like, "They're gonna love me."
It's fucking fatality right there on his face.
And then later when he shoots down the window, and then like he holds him out, he's like, he's like, "Let her go." He's like, very poor choice of words.
I love that as well. I'm glad. The first time I saw it, and I sat down and I probably watched it. As soon as Batman said "let her go," I was like, you know where he is, where he's holding her, right? And then Joker even said it. I was like, yeah, Joker, you caught on.
Yeah, I know. That's what I think. These villain. It's one thing I really love about Christopher Nolan's trilogy. Christopher Nolan, so you guys know, is my favorite director. I mean, his latest movies, I haven't been a fan of, like Tenet and like Dunkirk and stuff. But
oh, okay. Well, isn't Dunkirk a period drama?
It's a period drama, like, but the thing is, the film doesn't really have a story. That's the thing.
Oh, wow.
It's more just like it's similar to Tenet, where you focus way too much on the concept than the actual story and characters and everything.
I see that. So I did watch Tenet, and I told you this when you first came to my house. I really sat down and tried to follow exactly what was going on, and I really kept up until a point, and then it was pretty much the scene where I don't know what they were doing. It was on the freeway, and there were all those car hopping.
Oh yeah, they were like reversing time. And
and then from that point on till the end, I was just like, what planet am I on? What did I smoke?
I do admire, especially even in this film as well. I really do admire how Christopher Nolan does practical effects.
Yes.
And how he's very much against CGI. He only uses CGI when it's absolutely necessary. When he can't
achieve it. Yeah.
He can't achieve the thing that he wants to without CGI. And this movie, it's as well. Like it's a lot of the sequences are very much like practical effects. Like
you talking about Tenet now, or
no, The Dark Knight.
Yeah. No, you can see it. It's
getting
more
back to The Dark Knight. I mean, even the Batmobile chase sequence in this movie, which is really good, by the way. When the truck flips over, because there's that part where Batman, he drives underneath with the bike, and he gets those lines underneath it so it can flip.
I remember.
They actually use like an air launcher or like a. I don't actually know the exact way to describe it. There's like an air launcher type thing, and it actually shot the truck up, and then they flipped over and did that. And that's why when the truck flips over and it flips on its side, if you actually look, you can actually see the air vent thing pushing the air out.
That's really cool.
You can actually see the thing that pushed the truck out.
That's actually I would have loved to have been there when they shot that.
The one podcast that actually. The one channel I really recommend you guys to go check out is Lessons from the Screenplay, where the guy, he does screenplay, he takes a topic in screenplay and he uses the film as an example. Anyway, he's got this podcast he does, it's sort of like a side thing called Beyond the Screenplay, where it's more just, because Lessons from the Screenplay is more like a video essay channel, whereas Beyond the Screenplay is just him discussing films with his friends or whatever. Okay. And he actually was there when they were shooting. He was actually in Chicago when they were shooting that scene.
Oh, that's fantastic.
He was shooting something else that he was working on, and then they were like, "Hey guys, they're shooting the Batman movie." He's like, "What?" And then they saw they saw actually like from a distance them shooting it and everything.
That's cool. So they just dropped everything and ran. They were like, "Oh no, we have to go see that shit."
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Yeah, it's very cool.
That's great.
But yeah, no, the story in this is really good. It's just really well paced. It's a bit long, I will admit, but
it can be a bit lengthy. But at the same time, if you're invested and you enjoy the characters, it helps to alleviate the pressures of it.
But what I actually wanted to say earlier was that what I love about Nolan's trilogy of Batman movies is that each villain kind of like tests Batman in like various different ways. Like Scarecrow tests his fear, like his sanity. Ra's al Ghul sort of tests his loyalty and his faith. Joker is more like a psychological villain, like he tests Batman's intellect and Batman's like wits and everything like that. Because the Joker like pretty much outsmarts Batman for most of the movie. Batman eventually has to use that tech to spy on everybody just so he can bloody find the Joker. And then Bane obviously is more of a physical threat. To him.
No, that's true. They're all distinguishable. They're not like copy paste sort of like Clone Wars.
The villains all do different things, and I just love it, and I love the Joker. He's really good.
I can't remember what I read that the first, for the trilogy, the first movie plays on fear, the second is chaos, and I can't remember what the third one is with Bane, obviously.
Terrorism. Terrorism Rising coming back.
No, I'll have to. Well, I can Google it quick if you want.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
We can talk about it later, but
Oh.
yeah, we'll have to when we do our Dark Knight Rises episode, we'll update you guys.
Yeah, actually, you got a point. I didn't.
Yeah, we'll probably do because we'll definitely do a Dark Knight Rises and a Batman Begins episode as well.
You want to do them individually?
Yeah,
that one I feel like I could add more to those episodes. Right now, I've told you I'm just here to listen because this is your favorite movie.
Yeah.
As Jurassic Park is mine, so
yeah,
I don't mind giving you the time, the spotlight.
But yeah, no, it's excellent, and it also takes a lot of inspiration from the Long Halloween comic book, which the Long Halloween comic book, it's a storyline. They actually do an animated movie for it, which I'm very excited for. It's a storyline where there's this killer villain called the Holiday, and he kills mobs. He's picking off the mobsters, right?
Mm.
And he always does it on a holiday, like April Fool's Day, Halloween, Christmas, all those holidays. And each holiday, he breaks out a villain to sort of like cover his killing. And like the Christmas episode, the issues with the Joker. But that storyline is also Long Halloween is also like an origin story basically for Two-Face, because it's basically the same thing. The beginning, Batman, Commissioner Gordon, and Harvey Dent are trying to take down the mob, and then by the end of the thing, Harvey Dent just goes insane, gets obviously half his face melted off, and then he becomes Two-Face.
Okay, so they essentially integrated that story arc.
Yeah, pretty much, because Batman Begins is like pretty much Batman Year One, which is Batman's origin story, and also Commissioner Gordon and like the rise of like him becoming commissioner. Long Halloween, obviously, for Dark Knight, and then for Dark Knight Rises, it's like Vengeance of Bane, Nightfall, where Bane breaks Batman's back, and then also No Man's Land. No Man's Land was a storyline where there was an earthquake in Gotham, and Gotham kind of became like a lawless zone type thing. Oh. And that's sort of what later, when Bruce Wayne comes back to Gotham after escaping, and like Gotham has become like this lawless zone that Bane is controlling and everything like that.
That reminds me of the final season of Gotham. I know you haven't seen Gotham. I don't think.
Yeah, I've seen the first two seasons.
Yeah, it is a little bit drawn out, but I appreciate the characters they have and the cast. So anyway, in season 5. The bridges collapse. Spoiler.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
Spoilers all around, guys.
All around spoilers. So the bridges collapse in Gotham because Joker blew them up, and Gotham is now declared like a unsafe zone. So the government doesn't help them. Nothing.
Yeah, lawless zone.
So then everyone starts carving up territory. Like Scarecrow has his own goons.
It's the same thing. Same thing with No Man's Land. No Man's Land. Gotham gets divided up by the villains. Like this Riddler has his territory, Joker has a territory, Bane has a territory.
Exactly. That's what happened in season 5 of Gotham, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Yeah, they're always taking ideas from the comic books.
Oh yeah, of course. The thing is, I had a discussion with another friend of mine the other day. He was saying, he sent me a fact about Martian Manhunter that isn't widely known. I can't remember what it was, but I'll add it in. And I was just basically explaining that what the cinematic universe and just any sort of visual formats, they miss out on a lot of depth of characters because of the sheer number of comics and authors and such over the years.
Yeah.
That they can't cope with every single story arc and idea.
Yeah, the Batman, they keep kind of recycling some of them. That's why I'm looking forward to the new Batman movie, because it's going to focus more on him being a detective. They do a little bit of detective work in this one, I will say, with him analysing the brick and trying to find the bullet, him trying to reconstruct the bullet that Joker used in the shotgun clip. And I love that bit where I also love Alfred in this movie. Alfred's just so awesome.
Oh, Michael Caine. Yeah,
I love Michael Caine.
You know that he became an actor only because he didn't really pay that much attention in school. So he went to the class that had all the girls that he liked. Yeah. That's why he became an actor.
Yeah, Michael Caine is an interesting actor. But anyway, so what I was going to say is I really love Alfred in this movie. He's really awesome, and I love the bit where Batman's like, he's got all those miniguns, you know, those guns to test. He's got that minigun to sort of like test it, to sort of fire different.
Yes.
He's firing different bullets into bricks to see, you know, which one matches the Joker's one. And then I love the one when he does the shooting and everything, and then when he goes to go analyze the thing, like Alfred's just like, I don't think you made it loud enough, sir.
Yeah, I laughed as well because that thing deafened me. Here at home, I was watching it and it deafened me.
I remember my mom laughed as well when we're on the cruise boat, and then obviously Bruce Wayne's made a cover story saying that he's taken the whole Russian ballet on a thing, but actually he needs to go to Hong Kong so he can go get that guy. And then they're on the boat, and then the plane comes, and then Bruce is like, you know, are you gonna be okay without me, Alfred? And then Alfred just sees that woman who wants him to like put the suntan lotion on her. He's like, you could tell the Russians don't apply their own bloody suntan lotion.
Yeah. No, the thing is, he's got quick shots. Yeah,
I love
that character, Alfred.
And I just love the Dark Knight trilogy because it has because basically like Commissioner Gordon a little bit, but Commissioner Gordon, Alfred, and Lucius Fox are his three main mentors throughout the series. Obviously, Batman Begins, he has Ra's al Ghul, who's a big mentor to him. But yeah, no, it's just really, really awesome. So
which is great.
Yeah, but yeah, no, what I love about this movie is that like it really like challenges Batman, because Batman really gets pushed to the limit.
Well, that's what you brought up, isn't it? Each villain tests him in a different
way. Yeah.
You're talking about the Nolan trilogy, obviously.
Yeah, the Nolan trilogy, obviously. Scarecrow tests his fear. Ra's al Ghul tests his faith, and Joker's is like intellect, and he's also his spirit as well.
He's like psyche, yeah. I think Bane pushes his limits a lot.
Well, that is, he pushes him physically.
Physically, but also mentally, because he puts him in that hole, literally, in that prison that he has to climb out of.
Yeah.
Which is great. It's metaphorical.
Yeah, and I was taken straight out of Dark Knight. Out of Vengeance of Bane and Nightfall, because like he didn't put Batman in a pit or anything, but the thing is, in Vengeance of Bane, which is a prequel to Nightfall, which kind of goes into Bane's origin story. He was actually in a prison and he had to actually escape.
He was born there, yeah.
He was born in a prison and he had to actually escape. He didn't have to climb out of a pit or anything.
No, but
he had to escape out of prison, and then he had this vision of like being Batman in a fight and everything. Because actually in the comic book, what he actually does is that he stages a breakout at Arkham Asylum, and he breaks out all of Batman's villains, like everybody.
Villains. Yeah, they always get out.
And then Batman has to like, you know, spend obviously the next few weeks catching all of them. And the problem is it mentally and physically drains Batman, and Batman's like, you know, exhausted. And then when he's absolutely exhausted and at his worst, that's when Bane attacks him. And obviously loses.
Well, Bane is a threat because he's not only physically a threat, but he's also like a master strategist.
Yeah.
I mean, he was born in hardship when he was born in that prison, because he had to pay for his father's crimes. So they sent his mom to prison, and then she had Bane.
You think darkness is your ally? I was born in it, molded by it. But yeah, no. So
sorry, I'm sort of zoned out.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, no. It's been a long day.
It's been a weird day.
But yeah, so any other pros that you can really think of?
Pros, other than the fact that you said Nolan uses special effects more than CGI, I totally agree with that. I think CGI is overworked these days.
It's overworked.
I mean, you would know, Jesus.
Pretty much every director's...
they rely on CGI. Every behind the scenes is just green screen everywhere, and I'm like, oh, for God's sake.
Yeah, they're becoming way too reliant on it.
And it's kind of ruining...
I think it's also like maybe the studio. I think the studio... Like if the director's like, you know, I want to do this scene practically or whatever, they're just gonna say, no, you're gonna use CGI because we're giving you the money,
exactly.
So you're gonna do exactly
that's
what
the thing. The invisible hand, it always dictates director decisions. Like how Schneider wanted to give Superman a mullet in the Schneider cut now, and they were like, no.
They're like, nah, it looks stupid.
So I don't like the fact that they dictate. I mean, let the guy, if he has a history there of creations that can give him good credit, then just give him the creative freedom. Don't limit him because of what your budget suggests.
Exactly.
Which is kind of bullshit. But that's why I think independent filmmakers, like the major league guys, they do successfully because they don't have that dictatorship behind the scenes, you know.
Well,
producers.
because Nolan started doing like a lot of indie type films, so then they eventually gave him the power to do whatever he wants. The problem is now is that with his latest movies, he's got too much creative power. Like they need to kind of like step the pedals back a bit. It's like, I want a film that's about the concept and what about the story and everything. That's a side thing. I think the studio needs to say, hey, no.
You're talking about Nolan, yeah?
Yeah,
I didn't hear you
let's
mention.
focus on the story and characters a bit.
Have you like bring this cycles back to Tenet? How Tenet in concept is brilliant, but it's weird. It takes watches.
It's a great concept, but it's just like, the problem is the execution with the characters and everything. It's just...
There's almost no depth because they're sort of... It's weird because they start playing forward and then the movie essentially starts playing backward. Like there's a midpoint and then it just plays in reverse. And it's really weird to keep up with.
No. I mean, Nolan's done that before with like Inception, and also like with Memento.
Yeah, okay, Inception and Memento do.
But those movies in my opinion were better and better made and better thought out. That's the thing.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He thought about it, and also you had people to tell him something. But I feel the problem, because the thing is, that's actually a problem that George Lucas had when he was doing the prequel Star Wars film, the prequel trilogy. Because the thing about Lucas is that he's a very open person. And he loves to hear feedback. George Lucas from Star Wars. He's very open to your feedback, and he wants to hear feedback. He wants to improve his films. But then the problem is, after when he started doing the prequels, everybody grew up with the originals, and they loved them so much that they were basically just everyone around him was basically a yes man. They basically just said yes.
They had no conflict.
They said yes to all of his ideas, and they didn't. Nobody ever questioned or gave him a suggestion or anything, and because of that the prequel suffered.
You remember in class we actually had that, I can't remember who, if it was X or Jazz or who said it, but they were saying you need to have people that will disagree with you sometimes, because that keeps you grounded. If everyone just says yes and yes, you could up making like a huge pile of shit. Because no one said, yeah, you're being stupid.
I was watching this one documentary called The Death of Superman. It was a Superman movie that they were going to make in the late 90s, which I wish they made, which is going to be directed by Tim Burton, and it was going to have Nicolas Cage as Superman. It's a pretty great...
Oh, yeah?
It's a great documentary that goes into the detail about it. And then when they're interviewing the guy who was the producer on that project, he said that he had this weird thing where he would bring kids into the studio to look at like concept art and that type of thing, and a lot of the people on set didn't appreciate it. They kind of hated that he was bringing these kids in, and it was kind of unprofessional and everything. But when the guy asked him about it, he said that no, the reason why I brought the kids is kids give you an honest opinion.
Yeah, they'll be straight with you.
They'll be straight with you, whereas the problem is that, when you're a producer, everyone's working for you, you're paying everyone, because you're signing everyone's checks, nobody gives you an honest opinion. Everyone just agrees with you.
They just agree with you, that's the problem, and then that sort of excessive yes goes to your head and it fuels your ego. Yes, and then you just become a huge asshole. So that's why I said no. You need to have someone that grounds you.
Yeah, exactly. But then just one aspect I really want to talk about, the one unsung hero of this movie I feel is Aaron Eckhart. That's the actor who plays Two-Face. I feel he's so underrated.
He is actually very underrated. The thing is, Heath Ledger stole his thunder.
Heath Ledger stole his thunder, but I feel like...
I actually thoroughly enjoyed his story arc.
Yeah, when he becomes Two-Face, he's actually quite threatening.
And you can, when he's still just normal Harvey Dent, you can feel he really wants to do good. Yeah. Until, he's broken and then he really doesn't.
Yeah, I remember I didn't really fully understand, because after the part where Gordon, dies, gets, killed.
Oh, yes.
And then he's interrogating that guy, and he's using like dangerous methods, and then Batman says to him that, you're the symbol of hope I could never be, and if anybody saw this, everything you did would be undone. And the thing is, when I was a kid, I never understood. I was like, what are you talking about? But then when I watched it as an adult, I actually understood it a lot better. That if he stoops to that level, the problem is he's never going to think. There's actually been a lot of comics where, because the thing is, people the people who don't know anything about it, they always say, why doesn't he just kill the Joker? The Joker kills so many people, and all this type of stuff. But
well, it's the unwritten rule.
And then Batman says he said multiple times in the comics that if I go to that place, I'm never coming back. If I kill the Joker, I'm not going to stop. I'm just going to kill all the villains. I'm just going to kill everybody.
That's his rule, isn't it?
And at that point, where do you draw the line?
No, it adds a sense of conflict, because sometimes you really just want to fuck him up, but then Batman is always resilient.
So no, I really do enjoy Two-Face's scenes. His scenes are very intense, especially the scene when they first show him with the.
Yeah, I was gonna say
thing.
that when he's in the hospital.
I love
bed.
that. I love how they do it because the thing is, you can sort of see on the edges. You can see something's wrong with his face, but you don't actually
until
see
he
it.
fully turns.
And then he's having that conversation with Gordon. And then there's even that part when he says, you know, what was that name that they had for me back in Eternal Affairs? And then Gordon tries to dodge it and say,
avoid the
know.
question.
He's like, say it! He like screams like that.
Freaks out.
Yeah, and then when like he finally like flips over and he's like,
and you see the teeth and the
eyes.
and
like half his face is worn off. He's like, no, you're not.
That scene is so well orchestrated because they keep hooking you with just a little bit. You can see it.
Yeah.
That scene is so well done.
And I also love it when he interrogates those crooked cops, and he says, you know, you're the second cop to say that to me. Or he says, you know, I didn't have a choice, you know, everything like that. Yeah, really great. Or that I guess one flaw that I never understood was that scene. Remember when he's in the car with that Maroney guy, that mob boss guy?
You're talking about Two-Face.
Yeah, Two-Face. Yeah, he's in the car with that guy, and then he says that he tries to get the information about who the two crooked cops or whatever in Gordon's unit, and then he flips the coin, remember, and he says, "Oh, you're lucky, you're a lucky man," and then he smiles, but then he flips the coin. He's like, and he's not. He's like, who? Your driver, and he shoots the driver.
He just blasts him. Yeah, I questioned it as well.
I always questioned that because I'm like, how does he get out the car in time? Because they don't show him jumping out the car.
No.
They just show the car crashing. So how did he get out of the car in time?
I don't know. Maybe you had like a suicidal move, make him swerve off the road and maybe end the shit. But then he survived. Oh, unless the point of it was actually because he did 50-50 with both the driver and Maroney or Falcone, whichever one it was.
Maroney.
Was it Maroney? And then maybe as the last ditch 50-50 on his own life, he shot the driver for the sake of if he'd even survived the crash. Because he does believe in the chaos theory of like half and half.
Yeah, because the thing
so
is,
he gambled his own life.
Because he always goes on about how it's about
balance.
what's fair, and then that's when the Joker kind of turns. And I also love the scene when him and Joker converse in the hospital bed, and then Joker's like, I'm an agent of chaos. I'm like a dog chasing cars. I wouldn't know what to do with one if I actually caught it. I just do things.
Joker's dialogue is so well written. I love reading it because the thing is like. And that's why you haven't seen Gotham, but in Gotham season 4, when Joker, the first edition, when he dies,
there's two iterations.
The twin. So when the first one dies, he said, "I will outlive you because I am an idea, I am a concept." And I was like, that's exactly why Joker doesn't die, even in the comics.
In Suicide Squad, they tried to touch it up, but they failed. Like, because if you watch
the 2016 one.
Yeah, if you watch the extended cut. There's a scene with him and Harley where like Harley's like trying to get him. I don't know. She says like, my love, a gun doesn't scare you, but my heart does. And he says, you can't own me. I'm an idea. But he does it like in such a pretentious way.
Yeah,
the
thing is,
whatever.
That interpretation of Joker, he's basically a thug with a big bank account. He's a huge asshole. He has no real sense of drive or depth. He's just sort of there.
Yeah, no, he's very uninteresting.
To babysit Harley Quinn.
Yeah. I think my favorite, because this is just a montage of my favorite scenes in this movie.
It's pretty much, this is what I said, this is your episode, this is where I listen.
Yeah. My favorite scene in the movie is the scene where Batman interrogates the Joker in GCPD. The interrogation scene is so amazing.
Oh, you mean where Batman was behind him the entire time in the dark?
Yeah, he's talking to Gordon, and then Gordon says, I need to go get a cup of coffee. He's like, the good cop, bad cop routine? Not exactly the last turn on, Batman slams his...
Bash him.
Yeah, and I also think the Joker has a very dark sense of humor in that, because I actually did laugh at that scene when he says, he slams his head, and then Joker's like, never stop with the head. The victim's head gets all fuzzy. He can't feel the next time when he punches him. He's just like, see, I didn't feel that.
Yeah, I know what you mean. That scene is so well orchestrated. What I find more interesting than his approach to that situation was his dialogue when he talks about how those people out there, when the law and order is gone, they'll just eat each other. And Joker, he knows they will, but Batman refuses to accept it. I think deep down Batman knows it's true, but
he's like,
when the rules are gone, society is chaos.
Take the leopard, their morals, their code.
Yeah, you would know.
You wouldn't know. It's an all a big joke.
Exactly.
They're only as good as the world makes them out to be. Yeah, no, I just love that. I love that scene. I love that sequence. Just so great. Everything about that movie is just great.
It can be a bit lengthy, but at the same time, I don't think it's any,
Yeah, the
any
last-
scenes that are.
Yeah, the last act does get a bit too long. Yeah, especially the final, like, because the final battle Batman has with Joker is like 40 minutes long. It's like a long sequence.
And it's not even really a fight between them as individuals. It's more of like Joker's goons and his dogs.
Yeah.
And then
I
of
love
course there's
how-
that tension with the two boats.
I love when the two fight each other on that building, and then like I love it when he hangs up the Joker, and the Joker says, when they find out about Harvey Dent and all the things he's done, and then Batman has that realization. He's like, "You don't think I'd risk the battle for Gotham's soul in a fist fight with you? No, you need an ace in the hole. Mine's Harvey." And I love that final line that he gives just before they end the scene when he's
gravity.
he's like, "Madness, as you know, is a lot like gravity. All it needs is a little push."
Yeah, no, that's the last thing he says. I wish they showed what happened to Joker after that scene, because that's the last time you see him.
Apparently, the original scene that Nolan wanted to do was he was going to kill himself. Was after Batman left, he was going to take the knife and cut the rope, and then he was going to fall down to his death.
Mm-hmm.
But then another idea that he threw around was that what he actually wanted to do before Heath Ledger unfortunately passed away was that he actually wanted the Heath Ledger Joker to cameo in the next movie.
Oh, I see.
They would have probably
never happened.
Because remember, you see Catwoman go to Arkham Asylum or Blackgate or whatever prison she's in. So I imagine there would have been like a scene where you see the Joker in his prison cell or whatever.
I can imagine. And the thing is, Nolan in what's the last one called?
Dark Knight
Rises. He actually set the chairs in the ending scene to be the smiley face as a reference to Heath Ledger's Joker, and I was like, that's really cool, because of course no one planned for him to be in the ground. Yeah. So the fact that he had a reference to him was fantastic.
Yeah, it's actually quite interesting because Dark Knight Rises takes a lot from. Okay, well, I said earlier it was from Nightfall, Vengeance of Bane, No Man's Land. There's also a lot of Dark Knight Returns. Where Batman's gone for like 20 years and then he comes out of retirement to save Gotham or whatever.
Gotham does that, the series.
Yeah, and in that comic book series, the Joker basically like becomes a vegetable. Like he just completely gives up because because Batman's not around anymore. Mm-hmm. And then as soon as they start showing news about Batman coming back and everything, there's actually a scene where Joker he stands up because because he's been a vegetable in the hospital this entire time, and he actually stands up, and then he looks at the TV and he's like, "Batman, darling," and it zooms in on his smile because it's basically just he's got his purpose back. Because like he says in this movie, he says, "I think you and I are destined to do this forever."
Forever, exactly. Their feud is eternal. And the thing is, I didn't know that was actually a comic arc, because Gotham does that. So in the last season.
Yeah, Gotham does that quite a bit actually.
The second last episode is when they get Gotham back from the villains. Like the army is coming in and they finally.
Oh yeah, because they do that time jump.
Yeah.
They do that 10-year time jump.
Yeah, and then Batman comes back, and Joker was a vegetable. Is sort of that entire time. Riddler was making fun of him in Arkham. It's quite. You should watch it.
Yeah.
It's quite a scream. But then, of course, as soon as Batman's back, he does his whole breakout scheme. Just to go fuck with him, I guess.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Then, other than that, pretty awesome. And I know you said to me off camera that the Tumbler is your favorite Batmobile out of all the Batmobiles.
Is that the name of it?
Yeah, that's the name of the tank car.
Yeah, that specific reincarnation or incarnation of the Batmobile is my favorite. Second would be Batman vs Superman. I know. I think it's because you call it a Tumbler, really.
Yeah, it's called the Tumbler.
But that thing is a tank.
Yeah,
I love its aerodynamic design, and it's wide.
Yeah, because in Batman Begins, when he goes to Lucius to go get some gadgets, and then he says, what's that? He sees that car in the thing, and then Lucius is like, "Oh, the Tumbler? Oh, you wouldn't be interested in that." And then they cut to them driving in the car and everything. I actually I think you've seen it when you came to my house. Yeah, I got that toy of the Batmobile, the Tumbler Batmobile. It's this big.
The replica.
This
thing.
I think what I'll do is I'll print it for you guys when we do Batman Begins or Dark Knight Rises. I'll actually print it and I'll put it here so we can actually.
That's fine.
So we can actually see it because I love this. I love this trilogy. This trilogy is honestly my favorite.
I would agree. I like to watch it from time to time. but it's lengthy.
It is lengthy.
It's like
yeah.
Lord of the Rings. You really have to really want to do it, because otherwise it becomes a stretch towards the end.
So yeah, and then in terms of cinematography, there's quite a lot of good shots. In this movie.
None that I can really think of right now.
I think the one
I haven't watched it in months.
The one that came to mind is the one where Batman's it's like early morning, like late night type of shot, where it's like very blue, and then you see Batman like on that building, and he's like listening in.
Oh yes, I know.
You get that like shot, almost like a gargoyle type shot of
exactly,
Batman.
that's the one I was thinking of when it like pans around him. That one I agree is quite.
That one is quite cool, and
I'm only thinking of Joker's scenes.
or the one where like he's in the room when he comes out the hospital and he pushes the button to detonate it.
Oh yeah,
and then it doesn't work.
It's like a one
and then like
take.
And then like he pushes the button and then like it blows up again. That was actually a problem on
accident.
set.
Yeah, it was an accident.
Yeah, all the charges were supposed to go off, and then there was a problem, and then the charges went off late.
So that's why he was hitting that button. He didn't break character, and they just left it in. They were like, no, this is perfect.
No, it's perfect.
I like the that chase sequence, the Batmobile and that truck that says slaughter on it instead of laughter.
I never actually noticed that it says slaughter.
Yeah, Joker put the S in front of the L, so it's no longer laughter. I'll show you then.
I must actually check that.
Yeah, I'll show you. It's pretty cool. That scene is so well orchestrated. It reminds me of, I don't know which John Wick it is. Is it John Wick? When he has a bike chase.
Oh yeah, I think it's the third one.
I think it's the second or third one.
Second or third one that he has the bike chase.
Yeah, that scene is so well orchestrated, and you wouldn't think it was CGI the way they did it.
Yeah, I remember there was that. I think it was the third one that opened with that, where there's that guy driving the bike, and then he comes with the car, and the guy runs into his car.
Yeah, that was the second one.
Yeah.
My dad hates John Wick for the fact that his cars are always wrecked. The classics.
Yeah.
He likes John Wick, but his car's always getting wrecked.
Yeah.
Which is so sad.
What's his face? What was I going to say now? Oh, yeah, I also like to say Batman kills so many people in this movie. Like, remember...
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, like, they give Ben Affleck... It's because Ben Affleck's actually put guns on this thing. He was actually directed killing people, whereas this Bale was kind of indirectly. But, like, that one part where, like, there's that garbage truck and then he slams the Batmobile right into the front. That guy's dead.
Yeah, he's not coming back.
Dead. He's not coming back.
It's like,
Well, like in Batman Begins, when he uses that bullshit logic of like, I won't kill you, but I don't have to save you. And I'm like, and then he leaves, and I'm like, that is exactly killing him.
Yeah, that is.
You are indirectly killing him.
Exactly, you're indirectly leaving him to his fate, you dick.
Yeah.
And then Batman vs Superman does it as well. Like, you can't tell me when Batman hooks that crate and throws it on that guy's face that thing didn't shatter his skull.
I know it does.
I wanted to say face.
I know it does. If you watch the Ultimate Edition, the director's cut, it actually does.
Yeah, it kills him.
Yeah, because the thing is, when it hits him, in the theatrical cut, like, it just hits him and then he gets knocked out. But if you actually watch the Ultimate cut and it hits his head, when his head hits the wall, his blood splatters everywhere.
Oh yeah, you see it. You see, now that's a direct kill. I mean, you threw.
Yeah, that Batman was like just
face.
unhinged. Although I will say that warehouse fight scene in Batman v Superman is still the best Batman fight scene
when
ever.
he hits that guy so hard that he scorpions.
Yeah, even the Nolan. I mean, the Nolan trilogy's got some really good fight scenes, but none of them even come up close to that.
No, that.
I will say Zack Snyder, he knows how to do fight scenes.
Yeah,
his fight scenes are always epic.
That's the thing. Who is the dude that butchered Justice League? Joss Whedon.
Joss Whedon, yeah, the idiot.
Is it Josh or Joss?
No, Joss Whedon.
It is Joss, yeah.
Joss Whedon, who brought us such classics like Alien 4 and Justice, and the theatrical version of Justice League.
Yeah, Justice League.
I mean, like what? Like the only good movie ever made? Well, I mean, he's made stuff in the past, like Buffy the Vampire Slayer and everything, but I think the only film viz I've ever watched that I've actually enjoyed was the first Avengers. He got that movie very well, but...
Oh yeah, I'll give him that. The first Avengers is quite good.
Age of Ultron's okay, but yeah...
But when we get to the DC versus Marvel Cinematic Universe, when we get to that episode...
that's an epic episode we have planned, guys. DCU versus MCU. This guy's Marvel, I'm DC, we're going to go against each other.
I told you, that episode will end in a fist fight.
It's going to end in a fist fight.
You and I will be disagreeing.
It's going to end in a fist fight, yeah.
I don't know, I admire Marvel and I give them the benefit because of what they achieved. They started out years ahead with a goal in mind, and now the entire time
and the fact that they took a risk,
DC has been playing catch up.
And the fact they took the risk with the first movie being Iron Man, The fact that Iron Man wasn't a very, I mean, he was a character in pop culture, but he wasn't very well known by the masses.
No,
They knew
like he is now.
they knew like Spider-Man and the X-Men and stuff.
Yeah, of course.
They
They've
didn't
been
know-
around for longer.
Yeah, they didn't know Iron Man. Obviously, because the thing is, Marvel didn't own those characters at the time. They didn't have the rights to them, so they had to fall back on characters that weren't as popular, which is good.
Which I'll give them that. I mean,
But
yeah, Fox owned the X-Men rights back then, and Sony owned the Spider-Man.
They still own
rights.
Spider-Man.
They still own him. That's why there's always this feud between Marvel and Sony.
Yeah. But so getting back to Dark Knight, are there any flaws you can think of? I mean,
before we go off from Spider-Man, I just want to say, did you hear that Alfred Molina has confirmed to come back in this year's Spider-Man?
Yeah, apparently,
Dr.
and there
Octopus.
was a news report recently that when an interview he said that they're basically gonna pick up right where his character left off in Spider-Man 2 when he was in the river.
Yeah, when he was dying.
So they're probably gonna explain how he survives that and everything. Because actually, if you watch Spider-Man 3, there's a scene in Spider-Man 3 in Jameson's office where you see one of the newspaper frames on his wall and it says Doc Ock still at large.
Oh, that's cool. So he did survive.
It's an Easter egg to say that Doc Ock did survive.
Canonically, he survived.
Alfred Molina's Doc Ock. That's easily top 10 best supervillain.
Oh, hands down.
Supervillain
Spider-Man
roles.
2 of the Sam Raimi trilogy is my favorite.
No.
Him as an actor. The thing is, to me, Sandman has a lot of depth, but Dr. Ock also has a lot of depth.
Yeah, I think Doc Ock and Sandman were the two strongest villains.
Hands down. The thing is, Sandman was sort of watered down.
Because Green Goblin was...
with the other dudes.
Yeah, Green Goblin was cool, but the problem is he was just like,
Yeah, that's about
he was like
it.
that cheesy classic villain. There's even one part where he's holding Mary Jane in that train, and he's going like, you'll never know when some lunatic is gonna come in. He even admits that he's a lunatic. He even admits that he's crazy. Yeah.
You know that in that Green Goblin suit he wears Nike? Those shoes, because of the design.
Oh, wow.
They fit that suit perfectly. It's a specific model.
We'll
get there, but I thought it was an interesting bit of trivia.
We'll get to that episode.
I love those types of shoes.
But so any flaws you can think of the film? I mean, okay, I've mentioned that one with...
Is Catwoman in Dark Knight?
No, she's in Dark Knight Rises.
I was going to say, because if she's in Dark Knight, she had no purpose to be there.
No,
that would be my only flaw.
No, that was Rachel Dawes. Maggie Gyllenhaal, which I mentioned earlier.
Okay, my personal flaw would be the fact that Joker's ending is left unclear, because he's just hanging there. You don't know if he fell, if he jumped, if he had a heart attack.
I mean, I always just
cell.
assumed they just took him in.
Yeah, that's the default assumption everyone resorts to, is that he was just arrested.
I think in the official movie novelization they said that he actually was arrested and he went to Arkham for a few months, but then he broke out and he's like out there.
Yeah, Arkham needs to really up their security. Jeez,
Yeah,
everyone. That's
the
basically a daycare. Everyone can just come and go when they feel like.
Especially the Joker. He always knows how to break out.
The thing is, he has those people work for him.
But no. So, on a technical level, this film is flawless in my opinion.
It can be a bit dark. If you want a technical flaw, I have. Sometimes it can be dark.
Dark isn't thematically dark, or dark isn't actually dark.
Not thematically, visually dark. Like you like.
Some of the scenes are a bit dark.
If you turn up your ISO, it wouldn't be that.
Especially the final scene with Two-Face. That scene was quite dark.
I think that was a technical gripe. Other than that, I respect it. It's really got a solid foot in the door when it comes to top superhero movies out there.
Definitely.
Dark Knight will always be.
It's not only my favorite.
It set the bar.
Yeah, it's not only my favorite superhero film. It's my favorite film of all time.
Well, exactly. Because episode 2 was yours.
This movie's just so epic. I can gloat about it all day. But obviously, we don't have that much time. But
no, I don't think so.
But that was a pretty good discussion. And I guess also ratings. What would you go with?
Ratings.
Okay, I guess I would. We know my rating is going to be super biased. So
of course.
What's your rating? Your one would be more interesting.
Well, the thing is, as we told everyone, I'm the chilled one. I'm the one that appreciates the effort that goes into these things. You're the cynical one.
Yeah, the cynical, critical one.
Yeah, so my rating will always probably be high. I'll give it a 10 because I don't see any immediate flaws with it. Like no plot holes, no loopholes.
Yeah.
No, like minor things I don't minus points for. Rating would be 10 out of 10, and the whole point of yardstick is 10 out of 10 is the best to rate with, I think. Because
10 out of 10, that's when you give a masterpiece.
Yeah, any other values are weird.
I mean, the thing is, guys, our first two videos are going to be biased because it's our two favorite films of all time.
Exactly, so I get 10 out of 10.
He gave 10 out of 10 Jurassic Park, I gave 10 as well.
Yeah, so that's the thing. But now we got episode 3 with Alien. Now what are you going to give Alien?
Alien's it won't be a 10, but it's going to be hard.
Oh, you got counter arguments. That's fascinating.
It's going to be very hard score. Well, the thing is, the problem is some movies, you know, you have movies that are your favorite that are absolute masterpieces, and then you have some movies where like, okay, that didn't work as well, but it's still a fantastic movie.
I get you.
Yeah, so...
Alright, I'll stick with my opinion of Dark Knight is the 10. I always watch that, and I tend to agree with you about the only scene that never really felt like it added anything or made sense was Two-Face in that car. Yeah. That scene is very brief, and I don't know what his end goal was.
It cuts away too quickly. Like, it doesn't show us him jumping out the car or whatever. It just shows the car crashing. And the thing is, it crashes. It doesn't crash that badly. So, like, how does this... Are they dead? What?
And then at the end,
you're just supposed to just assume that the guy's dead.
Exactly, and then at the end, when you see Two-Face again, and he has the hostage, he doesn't look any different than before the crash. So it's like they were going at like 5 k's an hour, which is not life-threatening.
Yeah. So
I don't think I'll deduct for that. I'm gonna stick with my theory that he was doing the 50-50 on his own life.
I mean, Two-Face, you could argue, is suicidal. He's just 50.
Yeah, he is.
He's just waiting for the coin to go the wrong way, so his life can finally be over.
Pretty much.
Okay, so just as the last thing, like, any lessons you take away from the film?
Yeah, that's what we were about to get to when the camera stopped. Let's see. Final lessons from Dark Knight. Actually, coming back to our first part of this argument, it's reminded me to put a lot of subtlety into body language because of what Joker does. The way
Heath Ledger's body language is excellent.
There's such a deeper understanding of Joker if you just watch his body language compared to what he just says.
He's very good. My mom, when we watched The Dark Knight for the first time, because that movie was like playing every week in my house basically, because me and my dad are both big comic book fans and we both love Batman and everything. And my mom actually pointed out this one thing where when he crashes a party in the beginning and he like comes in with his shotgun and everything, there's a part where where he takes a champagne glass, right, or a martini glass or whatever alcohol drink he picks up, and instead of him drinking the whole thing, he like tosses most of it out and then only takes like a tiny sip. And my mom was actually saying that he's actually insulting the rich people. He's basically just saying, you know, you people who have everything.
Yeah. Oh, I can agree to that, actually. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, he has like that body language type of thing. So
really very cool.
So yeah, no, it's very cool.
Other lessons? Don't be scared of using real effects instead of CGI.
I think that was actually that was my lesson as well. Don't be afraid to use
special effects.
Practical effects.
Sorry, practical, not
practical effects. And I think also, you know, when you create, I think it's also about creating a villain. When you create a villain, you need a villain that's going to push the hero to a certain side. Because again,
you can play it safe, you could.
Because again, I think I mentioned this earlier in the episode and also mentioned Jurassic Park one. The one channel I watch listens to the screenplay. It's a great video channel. I highly recommend it. When they did video essay on The Dark Knight, they did an episode on Black Panther, and they were comparing Killmonger and Black Panther to Joker in The Dark Knight. And what they were saying, what was so great about those two villains was that they were villains that were constantly pushing the hero into difficult decisions. Like The Dark Knight, Joker, he constantly pushes Batman to make really hard decisions because towards the end, Batman has to like start bending the rules a bit just because he needs to do it to catch the Joker. Because the problem is the Joker's just going to keep killing people, and he has to do it for the greater good. And then Lucius Fox almost walks out because he says,
exactly. I remember that. I didn't think when I watched it last time, and Lucius was like, I am not like okay with this stuff you're doing now, and he threatened to like walk out if he ever had to do it again. I didn't expect that because Lucius is always there, same as Alfred, like backup, and to help him. So the fact that he was willing to quit just because of the limits Batman was going to, it really caught me off guard.
I have to find this man, Lucius.
Yeah, I can't do the Batman voice.
Mm.
Because, I'm hydrated. You have to sound like you haven't had water in 10 years to do that voice.
Yeah, also, but Affleck's voice, his voice in Batman Begins is very good. I think that one's fine. But as the movies go on, his voice does get a bit too... I think if he took the voice from Batman Begins and kept it, would have been a lot better. But yeah, no, so that was a really great episode.
No, wait, what did you learn? I didn't get to that, yeah.
Oh, no, sorry. What I was going to learn was that... same with you, try to use practical effects when you can. And also I think my other lesson is just, try to create a story is only as interesting as its villain. So I think you need to really spend time on your antagonist, and a good antagonist is one that is always pushing the hero to make difficult decisions. Exactly. The fact that Joker keeps pushing Batman to make difficult decisions that he wouldn't make normally.
And that's what drives the conflict.
That's what drives the conflict.
Not only externally, but internal conflict. Because now Batman is like, do I actually go against the things I've said?
Yeah, and Bruce Wayne, and at the end of the movie, Bruce Wayne goes from being Batman to being the Dark Knight.
Similar to Gotham.
To becoming the more mature, more seasoned Batman.
Where he's not like some street kid, like... just getting into bar fights and things. He's doing more serious villains.
And I guess just as like some last minute cinematography shots, I like the one shot I like is I like the shot when the building burns down and obviously Harvey Dent's in the hospital and everything, and they show that shot of the rubble and Batman standing on it and like he's brooding and like his cape's floating in the air.
Oh yes.
That's a good shot. And I really like the shot where Bruce Wayne's sitting in his chair and he's holding his mask in his hands. He's like looking at his mask and he's wondering like, am I doing the right thing? And he says, Gotham needs its true hero, and I let that murdering psychopath blow him half to hell.
Oh yeah, that's true. That's very interpersonal, and like this perspective is great to see. I think I can add one more technicality that I thoroughly enjoyed is when Harvey Dent is strapped to that chair with all the bombs, and then he's on the phone.
Oh yeah, with Rachel.
With Rachel. The way they edited that, constantly switching between the two subtly, not every time one spoke, but rather combining in person, like you can see them, and then the voice through the phone. I think
almost like as if they were in the same room.
Yeah, essentially, but they also created distance between the two like that, a real disconnect.
Yeah, basically so like a personal interaction, but at the same time very distant. Yeah. You see what I mean? You always word things better when I. Yeah, I've actually never thought about that. That's actually a really good.
I thoroughly enjoyed looking at that scene. I suppose we're gonna have to do like an episode 3 on Dark Knight. Well, we'll have to review it.
We'll have to go back to Batman Begins and then go to Dark Knight Rises.
Maybe we'll dedicate anything we missed in that episode.
Yeah, we'll do some more episodes on the rest of the Nolan trilogy. We just wanted to obviously do this one because it's my favorite one of the 3.
We started with our favorite films.
So thanks very much, guys. We really appreciate the viewing and just putting up with us through our technical issues that we've been having.
Like we'd started old married couple.
Growing pains and the beginning of a podcast.
Yeah, that's true.
So thank you very much, guys. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and leave a comment about what you feel about the movie, and thanks, guys.
See you next time.